You're listening to the Journey Podcast, a ministry of Southcrest Baptist Church. We're here to know the Word, love the Word, and live the Word. Let's take a joyous journey through the Word.
Tate and Teagan, it's your boss again. Me, Tyler Dunn. This time my hat is backwards. We are talking about the book of Job, which y'all told me is your favorite book of the Bible. But in all seriousness, Job is not most people's favorite book of the Bible. It is a difficult book to read. There's a lot of just disaster and hard stuff in it. And God seems very silent in the book of Job, but when he finally speaks in, I believe, Job 38 through like 41, Job has all these questions that he asks God, and God doesn't answer Job's questions directly. Why do you think that is? And what does it tell us or show us about who God is?
What's up, guys? Welcome back. We time traveled and we happen to be wearing the same clothes as the last episode we were on.
No.
That's just a crazy quinky dink. Anyways, we're gonna continue the trend with fall. What is like your favorite fall food?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go with, I have recency bias, okay?
Recency bias. That's a new term.
Is that not a real thing?
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
And you know what? I'm going to go with an apple turnover. You know?
Oh my
Because
gosh.
when I tell you I bit into an apple turnover,
They were so good.
and it was like...
That changed my life. I've
it
never
was
had
like
one.
I was raised into the air 20 feet.
No,
You
literally. Like my soul was...
I
had a...
Give me 20 of them. You
No,
know
right.
what I mean?
Have you seen those videos with the debit card and they're like...
Take my money.
Yeah, no. Guys, at Fall Retreat, they brought out these apple turnovers, and literally all it is just crescent dough and apple pie filling.
Yes, so easy to make.
But something about, oh my gosh, they were so good. That was really good. But I think since I had it so recent, I don't want to put it overall.
That's fair.
And that's fair. And nothing against you. Nothing against the recency bias. I'm going to have to say chili. Chili will forever be my comfort meal during the winter. I mean, my dad's recipe... Let me tell you guys, it is probably the best, and
It's an ad for our chili cook-off.
This might be an ad. You might see a chili cook-off, in the future. So be on the lookout for that. But it is just so good. You could do Frito pie. You could do chili and cornbread. Beans have to be in the chili. If you disagree, you're weird. No offense. Sorry, not
It
weird.
does not mean that.
Weird is probably the wrong word. You have not experienced true chili.
True.
Because to me, chili without beans is just like manwich. Like you're just eating
a good
like
sloppy
spaghetti
joe.
sauce.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, that's really what it is. But yeah, I would have to say
Very passionate about your
because it's just like I genuinely could eat chili like 7 days a week. I really could. Like I could make a big batch of it and I could just eat it. I
So
just hate it.
you can make the chili. I'll make the apple turnovers. We'll meal prep.
Yeah, and this time our soul will go 40 feet. I guess just some like background information. For those who haven't read Job, it's basically just a book about a righteous man who gets tested by the devil because the devil thinks that, you know, if I take all this stuff away, Job's going to turn against God. And God's like, go ahead. He's a righteous man. He won't. And so he loses his family. He loses his livestock, his wealth, his house, like literally everything. He loses his good health. He gets all these boils and things on his skin, whatever. And basically, at the end of the book, Job finally gets to ask God. He's like, why? And God doesn't really give him an answer, but he blesses him in the end with, I think, is it twofold, threefold? Something like that? I don't know. Something like that. He gives him more than what he had to begin with. I'm just going to read a little bit from Job 38. And it's verses 2 through 4. It says, who is this? And this is God speaking to Job. Who is this who obscures my counsel with ignorant words? Get ready to answer me like a man, which, whoa, like that's crazy. When I question you, you will inform me. Where were you when I established the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. And so right here we see God, responding to Job's why.
So why do you think God chose to respond to Job with questions?
Mm. Yeah, I think in there he like asks something like 70 rhetorical
Yeah.
questions. He's like, who grows the grass for the animals to eat? Who spins the stars? Who runs the universe? Basically, is what he's asking.
Yeah.
And so,
Were you there when
yeah, like, were you there when
Yeah.
on the first, or like days 1 through 6? I don't think so, Job.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really cool because even though like that's not the answer, like that really doesn't answer his question.
Yeah.
It's like, so why'd you let this happen to me? Well, were you there when I like? He's kind of like redirecting it, but he's also showing like, man, God is sovereign.
Mhm.
And so to me, it's like almost like he's putting up this momentary suffering, which though it was great in our eyes, man, I can't even imagine losing my family, losing my job, my living situation, and my health. Like I would
Yeah.
be broken. But God's basically showing Job like your suffering is nothing compared to like number one, like my greatness because I rule the universe.
Mhm.
And to some that may seem like that's kind of mean, but to me that seems like God is saying like I'm greater than your suffering. Like you're trying to put your suffering up against me and it's gonna lose every single time because even though you're going through it, like I'm allowing you to go through it.
Yeah.
Almost in a way to test him. And so I think that's kind of why it's cool that he doesn't answer his why.
Straight out.
What do you think?
I think like with the use of questions, I think it brings about just like a lot of reflection. You know what I mean? It makes you chew on it a little bit better. I think that's why chat groups have or like Bible studies like group questions where like that somebody asks a question you answer it is so awesome when paired with like Tyler when he's in a sermon and he's just speaking to us. You know what I mean? Like you have to chew on it. So like with Job, like in the questions that God is asking Job, like it's like the content of it is like making Job reflect on like God's character and how sovereign he is. And he was like, oh wait, God did do that. Oh, that is who I'm dealing with. That is who's like on my side. And then but it's also looking back at Job and it's like, man, I'm not high and mighty. I don't have any say in this. I thought I was in control. I thought I was doing this, but I'm not, you know? And so I think like it also just makes Job like instead of just giving Job the straight answer, it's like Job has to sit there and he's chewing on it while God is like
It's almost like a reprimand from like a parent.
yeah.
He's like, you don't know what I
Mhm.
do, and I don't know. It's like whenever I paused right there, it was like, get ready to answer me like a man. I was like, woo! God's about to rip him a new one. But also like kind of going off that, like, have you ever asked God why, like similarly, like Job, and like, do you feel like his answer was different than you thought it would be?
I feel like God has a way when in my mind, I feel like God is always now stay with me here.
Okay,
Okay?
I'm locked in.
So like in a play, there's people that are on the stage doing the big things.
Mhm.
Okay? And in my mind, God is a big on stage person. But when I ask why, a lot of the times, like the way God is moving and like the way that he's answering it is like he's like a backstage like manager. Like he's moving things like I'm not seeing and I'm just not looking for it in that way. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so like I've asked many of questions and I'm like looking for like these big things and he was over here like moving the tiniest of details to work for my good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like I just he does both. But I feel like a lot of times I miss him doing like the backstory stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And I think like by him asking these questions to Job, it's like refocusing on like, yeah, you're suffering, but let's look at my greatness.
Yeah.
Like he's still a good God at the end of the day. And like me personally, like I guess the way that I relate to this is like losing a loved one.
Yeah.
I lost my mom's dad and my dad's mom within a month of each other during COVID. And that was the first time I had ever lost a family member. And so the grieving process for the first time, I wasn't really solid in my faith. And so my biggest question is like in the movies, like, why God would you let this happen? Like, if you're a good God, like, why are you hurting my family? You know? And so in the midst of that, I was so angry at God. I was like, I remember praying, like my grandpa died of COVID, and so he was in the hospital, and I remember praying in the waiting room, like on my hands and knees, like, man, God, like allow him to walk out of this hospital room. And shortly after, man, we decided to, take him off life support, and he shortly passed. And so to me, I was like, it was like a slap in the face almost,
Yeah.
or that's what it felt like. And I was like, I was crying in the waiting room, like expecting you to heal him, and you didn't. But now, being more mature in my faith and seeing what he, like you said, like what he was doing backstage, he he mended our family in a way that only he could. And now, like, I feel like our family is more close because of it, because, both sides were rocked so crazy, and everyone was like emotionally unavailable almost a little bit. And so now I'm like, I prayed for healing, and he got the healing.
Yeah.
It wasn't earthly healing. Like he got the best promotion ever, you know?
Yeah.
The same thing goes with my grandma. Like, too, like I can't be angry because they're without suffering, and it's not the answer I asked for. But it's an answer I'll take because it's a good one. And so I really like that about God, is how sometimes, like, if you've ever heard, like, if you pray for patience, he's not going to give it to you. He's going to give you a situation to
Mhm.
use it, or
Oh,
to
and
gain
won't
it.
he do it?
Oof, that's a big
Won't
one
he
too.
do it?
And so I think that's because if everything was just so, which I want to be careful, because he does give peace. He does give these things freely, but sometimes he doesn't. And so I think that's what's cool about it, because I think if everything all the time was just so freely given,
Yeah.
we wouldn't know how to rest on him.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't know how to fully depend on him when we think we can't.
Mhm.
I think it would just be like a cop out of life.
Mhm.
And so I think that's what makes our relationship so beautiful. But
Yeah.
let's move on to Job 40 verses 15 through 19. Let me turn a few pages. 40, 15 through 19.
I've got it if you want me to go.
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it if you want to.
Behold, Behemoth, which I made as I made you, he eats grass like an oxen. Behold his strength in his loins, in his power in the muscles of his belly. He makes his tail stiff like a cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword.
So, and even in earlier, he talks about like lions and ravens, and he's going through all these animals, and then he talks about behemoth, and we're like, what is behemoth? But apparently he's some big cow strong thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, what do you think, like, behemoth kind of represents in this
Well,
conversation?
I feel like he kind of just talks about like, man, like you couldn't tame Behemoth, but I'm the
Mhm.
creator and I'm all powerful, and it's like he obeys me, you know. And I think it's just kind of like, and it kind of goes back to like reflecting God's sovereignty. Like in the situation, there are things in the world we cannot even like
Mhm.
control in the slightest. Like it kind of happens to us, we don't happen to it, you know. And I think God's kind of speaking to that. It's like you can't control it, but I can, and like good thing, like I'm kind of on your side, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah. I think too, like you said, like, it puts into perspective, like, God, Job is basically asking why, and he wants the answers. And so God is basically saying, like, if you want control of the answers, this is what it means. And only I
Yeah.
can control everything all at once. And so I think that was very humbling for him. And so, like you said, like, he's making behemoth, which is so funny. Like, just hearing you, like, hearing him describe him and him, I guess it, in such detail. It's so cool because it's like you have this giant animal that people couldn't tame, and yet, like, God could be like, "Go do this," and he would, because
Yeah.
he's the creator of the universe.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think it's just like this thing where we want the answers and we want control, and God's like, "If you wanted control, you can't even comprehend what even that looks like
Right.
because I'm controlling everything all at once, and it's really humbling us in a way that like, yeah, we go through things, we go through ups and downs, but we can do that alongside the creator of the universe. And man, it gives me so much like I'm I'm glad that I don't have to control everything all at once because guess what? I'd be really crappy at it. So I think it's the way that he responds and questions is more of like a refocusing. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, he doesn't get the answer, but he learns that man, God is sovereign, and he eventually, or not eventually, I guess that's the wrong word to say, but like he allowed the devil to tempt Job, but he knew Job would come out on the other side still faithful.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that was really cool to see.
And I guess kind of like with that, like, how does it change our experience of suffering to know God is in control of what we can't control?
Mm. That's a good question. I think I'll just use my family as an example too. Like, I think him being over that, he's gonna work it out in a way that's gonna be good. Like Romans 8:8, he works all things for good, and he did. He works all things for good, and I'm in that situation, and so I think it gives me a lot of peace, um, which I didn't have at the time, but now I do for future events like that. Like I can just rest in what he's doing. Like I know that he came through on that aspect, and he worked a really sucky situation for good. So I know that if he's going to come through, and I know that God is faithful, I know that in the future, if anything happens like that again, it'll suck in the moment, but I'll just ride it out because I know he's writing something for his glory and for something that'll work for his good. And so I think that definitely changes kind of my experience on it and my perspective kind of going forward. It's just he is sovereign, and sometimes bad things happen, but he's gonna write it out for good. So
Mm-hmm. And I feel like for me, I kind of a habit of mine is to like go to the very end of my rope. God, I got this. I got this. I still got it, God. And I come to the end of my rope. I don't have anywhere else to go. I'm out of like, I don't have any more plays to play. You
Yeah.
know, kind of like David. Like he tried to take it into his hands. He tried twice, you know? And at the end of the rope, like we're like, oh, like
he's at the end of the rope.
yeah, like you're at the end of the rope.
Yeah.
So like I don't have control of the situation, but you do, you know? And so it's like when my hands are tied, when I don't have any more plays to like go with, it's like, no, well, God is there, man. Why couldn't I have gone
Mhm.
like to you, like before my wits end, you
Yeah.
know?
That's such
But
a hard lesson to learn,
it's
though.
hard. It's hard. I mean, like, and he is so kind to like meet us there. You know what I mean? Because that's probably me at my worst. I'll
Yeah.
say it. But I think it's just so kind. It's like, man, just give it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've been in control this entire time, but like thank you for handing it over to
Mhm.
me finally. You know?
Yeah.
I think it just kind of gives us peace of mind that like, man, like when we don't have anything left, we don't have any like other moves, like God was already working to like help us in that situation. He was already like behind us kind of
Right.
doing all the things. And so it's really nice that he's in control, and he does have the intention of like he has good plans for us, whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
And so it's just kind of nice.
That's good. And then lastly, in Job 42, verses 1-3, it says, Then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do anything, and no plan of yours can be thwarted. You asked, Who is this who conceals my counsel with ignorance? Surely I spoke about these things, and I did not understand. Things too wondrous for me to know. And so I think it's really cool here how Job, even though he's gotten these questions, he's like, wow. Like he chewed on it, like you said, for a little bit, and he realized like, all these things are too wonderful for me to know. Like the reason of my suffering is something that I'll never understand, but God is good anyways. And so I think kind of going off that, like, what do you think is the difference between, knowing about God and encountering him like Job did? Like, what do you think that difference is?
I think we talk about like, I've heard the phrase religion, like a relationship over religion a lot. And like, the thing about like our faith, like the Christian faith, is like it's all based on relationship. That's what brings about transformation. You know what I mean? Like in this situation, like Job went from like, why God, why God, why God, to being like worshiping him. Like God like transformed like his perspective, you know? But like also like just like what was it? The knowing about God, like that's just facts. Anybody can know about God. Like even Satan knows about God.
Mhm.
But like like encountering God, like that's where like the true transformation like comes from, you know?
Yeah, I think too, like whenever I have someone ask me, like I encountered this a lot at Beach Reach, like people just asking really hard questions, and like that's totally valid. Like I know like church hurt is a big deal, and just, you know, if I didn't have the faith aspect, even the small bit that I did have at the time, like going through that and losing someone, man, I would totally walk away. Like I would say like, God, you don't care about me. You wouldn't have taken my grandparents if you
Right.
did. And so I think encountering him is just like knowing that like, man, these things are going to happen, and I know that he's come through it in the past and on different things, and so I know that he's got me now. And so kind of like you said, like knowing about him, you can know all this theology and know all this history, but until you have encountered the God of the universe, all that, I mean, yes, it's important for like debate and evangelism and stuff like that, but like your relationship is where it's at with
Yeah.
him. And so I think it's just cool and really important to remember that. Like you can know the answer to every question and still miss out on that relationship aspect. So to sum everything up and to answer Tyler's question, man, I think this really just shows 38 through 41 really shows that God is sovereign.
Yeah.
And that our suffering is something that we're going to go through, but we will not have the answers for it. A why is not what we should be looking for. Man, we should just be praising that we have another breath in our lungs.
Yeah.
And that he is sovereign, he runs the world. And so we can't really question his motives. We just got to trust him. And so I think that's really beautiful. But, you know, as we leave today, you know, ask good questions, live in the uncomfortable, so that we learn to trust the Bible and know God more deeply. You guys are sent.